All right, let's talk about quotation marks. So we've got these quotation marks, and we've got three ways that we can use them. First, and probably the most common ways that you use quotation marks are to use them around direct quotation. So when you're taking somebody else's words directly from a source and using it in your own writing, you've got to put quotes around it to indicate that that's somebody else's words. Now, you don't want to use quotes if you're paraphrasing something or summarizing something. So remember, those quotes go just around somebody else's direct quotation, like, I want that, he whined. All right? Also, use quotations around the titles of short works. And the way I like to remember what works qualify as short is any time that they exist inside something else, like chapters in a book, poems in an anthology, articles in a newspaper, episodes in a TV show. If it's the smaller entity, they're going to be considered short, and you want to put quotation marks around them. Something like, I love the short story, A Good Man is Hard to Find, because this is something that's probably found in a larger anthology. So those are our reasons, or the different ways that we're going to use quotation marks. What gets sticky with quotation marks is that they tend to have a lot of rules around them in terms of punctuation. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those. So quotes inside of quotes get single tick marks, and this is something I get asked all the time. So if you've got this example, according to Time, Patrick Henry yelled, "Give me liberty or give me death." We've got two quotes there. So if I'm taking this big one from Time magazine that's talking about Patrick Henry, and within it, it's giving me a direct quote that he said, I put the double quotation marks around what I've pulled from the source, and then when I get to that quote that's inside the source, I give it a single tick mark, so just the apostrophe key if you're typing it. So you've got it around the give me liberty or give me death. So you can see at the end it looks a little funny, but you're going to close with an apostrophe and then a quotation mark. So it looks like you've got 3 tick marks. So that's what you do with quotes inside of quotes. Now typically, and not all the time, there's always exceptions to rules, but typically when you're quoting something, your punctuation mark should go inside of the quotes. So you see here that I ended the sentence with the period inside these quotation marks. There are some exceptions here, and we're going to talk about one of them right now. If you cite a quote, so if you include a parenthetical citation here, you are going to move that end punctuation mark to the outside of the citation. So you're going to take it off the end, leave your quotes there, and then you're going to insert your citation. So let's say this was by an author named Smith on page 20. Close your citation, and then the end mark goes out there. So that's just something to note when you're including those parenthetical citations, and hopefully you're doing that if you're taking a bunch of direct quotations from different sources. So that's what we covered right here. The only other exception, and we'll get to it in just a little bit, is that when you have question marks or exclamation points, you want to make sure that they go with the statement. So if the quote is an exclamation or a question, that punctuation mark goes inside. If the entire statement is a question or an exclamation, it's going to go outside. And that'll make a little bit more sense when we look at it. All right, so let's take a look at these examples and see if we can insert our quotes in the right spot. So we've got the cab driver screamed, "No, I cannot get you to the airport in 20 minutes. All right, so we know, "No, I cannot get you to the airport in 20 minutes" is what the cab driver is saying. So we've got to put quotation marks around it. So we're going to start them out here, and you notice we let into it with a comma. And then now what we've got to decide at the end, we've got an exclamation point. So you've got to ask yourself the question, does the exclamation point go with the quote, or does it go with the whole sentence? In this case, it goes with the quote. The cab driver screamed is not an exclamation at all, but what he screamed is. So in that case, we're going to leave the exclamation point inside the quotation marks in order to indicate that it belongs with that quotation. All right, let's take a look down here. Make sure you read the short story, The Lottery, for homework tonight. Well, it's a short story. It goes inside of something else, so we know we've got to set the short story off with quotation marks. And then finally, haven't you ever wondered what she means when she says, "See you later"? All right, so we've got somebody saying, "See you later." Here's our quote, so we're going to start it here. Now we've got that question mark, which is another one of those sticky situations. Remember, we've got to ask ourselves, does the question mark go with the quote, "See you later," or does it go with the larger statement, "Haven't you ever wondered"? Here, it goes with that larger statement, so we want to indicate that by putting it outside of the quotation mark. So we're going to close these quotation marks before we put the question mark there. So here you guys have some examples of how to use quotation marks in your writing, and hopefully this made it a little bit clearer.